I'm Lisa Wallen with Directional Learning, and today we're going to teach you your direction. You've already learned that things have direction, and you've counted things to get direction. Well, to find your direction, it's the same thing. We still use our letters and numbers. Okay, we're going to learn about your direction. But before we learn about your direction, we're going to review. Remember, all we have to do is count to get direction on things or use our letters. But let's count this desk again to find direction. Okay, let's use our numbers. So the first thing I would do is take out my number 1. And remember, you can always imagine that it's the one lefty dragon and his tongue is sticking out. And remember, you just follow the tongue. Remember, this is the tongue. And that will take you towards the left. And remember, the one lefty dragon has the capital L in him for left, so that's the left. Next comes the number 2. So remember, the number 2 just lives in the middle, and it's being squished by the other numbers. And for our last number is the number 3, remember? And remember the bumps in the road or the rocks on the number 3. If you follow it, it'll take you to the right. So see the bumps? You can imagine they're bumps, a road, or rocks, and you can just follow it. And that takes you towards the right. So that's the right. And if you wanted to use your letters, we could do the same thing. We could make the capital L, put the star in the corner, and follow it. And remember, that takes us towards the left if you follow that corner on the capital L. So that's the left. See the corner? If you follow it, that takes you towards the left. Or you can use your imagination and put the star in the corner and then follow the stars that go outside the building. And that takes you towards the left. So that's the left. Next comes the middle, and that's easy. The middle just lives in the middle, and it's being squished by the other letters. And last comes our capital R. And remember, our capital R has a bump in it. So if you follow that bump or the road, it will always take you towards the right. So see the bump or the road? That takes you towards the right. So you just follow that bump. So you just learned that all we have to do is count to get direction or use our letters to get direction. When I like to teach direction on yourself, I always like to teach you the middle first because it's the easiest. All you have to do is make a capital M above you, make it above your head, then find this point here and just make an imaginary line down the middle of your body. And that's your middle. Your middle separates your left and your right. And when you think of that line that goes down the middle of your body, remember, that line can go down the front of your body, the back of your body, and through your body. And the middle always separates the left and the right. Let's make that imaginary line. Let's get our line out. So all I do is I start at the point here, and then I just make a imaginary line down the middle of my body. So start at where the point is, and that makes your middle. Or you could think if you have a tie on or a scarf, it just goes down the middle of your body, and that separates your left from your right. Or if you like to think in numbers, then take out your number 2. It's pretty easy. Like that, find the middle of the mountain, because remember, 2 means the mountains. So find the middle of the mountain, make that imaginary line, and that separates your left from your right. Take this person sitting here at this desk. Do you see that you're seeing the back of his head? Well, then that means that you and him are facing the same direction because you're seeing the same thing. So you're sharing direction. Now that you're facing his direction, now we can teach you his direction and your direction. So let's go find your direction. Finding direction on yourself is kind of like finding direction on things. Remember when we counted this desk out to get direction? And we use the letters to get direction on things. Well, to get direction on yourself, it's the same way. We would still use these letters and numbers. But think of it as you being 3 parts. Remember, you have a middle. So if you have a middle, then you have a left and a right side. So think of yourself as being broken down into 3 parts, 3 numbers, 3 letters. So let's look at this person sitting at the desk here. We've already counted it out. So, do you see his hand closest to the number 1? Well, that would be his left hand. or his hand closest to the capital L building. That's his left. This would be his left hand. Same if we looked at this leg here. It's closer to the capital L or the 1. So this is his left side. So this whole side over here would be his left side. Now his middle's pretty easy. Remember, it's a line that goes down the middle of your body. So that's his middle, separating his left and his right. So this whole part here on him would be his middle. Remember, I told you it can go from the back side. It can go in the front side of him too. So this whole part is his middle. Now for the right side, well, that's the hand closest to the capital R or closest to the number 3. That would be his right hand. And same with this foot over here. It's not closest to the capital L building. It's actually closest to the number 3 or the capital R for right. So that's his right foot. So do you see your body has direction? All you have to do is your numbers or your letters to get direction on yourself, to count yourself out. Think of yourself being divided into 3 parts. Let's do some more practicing. Let's pretend this is you and you're on a walk and you need to get direction on yourself, on your body. So all you would have to do is take out your number 1. Remember, it's the one lefty dragon and it has a tongue. So you can just follow that tongue and that's the 1. It goes first. Next comes the number 2. So that goes in the middle. And last is the number 3. And the number 3, if you just follow the bumps or pretend that's a road, that leads you to the right. So just looking at these numbers, you can tell this has the capital L in it. So this hand closest to the 1 is the left. Same with this foot. That's the left. Now, for your number 2, remember, all you have to do is find the middle of the mountain and make a line down your body. And that's your middle. So you have a middle. And this hand closest to the number 3 or to the road is the right. Same with this leg. This leg closest to the number 3 is your right. And you can even move towards the 3, and that's moving towards the right. Next, if you wanted to use letters, you could take out your capital L, find the corner, and follow that corner. And that leads you to the left. So this arm here is your left. The arm closest to the capital L building is the left. Next, if you wanted to find your middle, well, that's easy. It just lives in the middle. Remember, the middle is just being squished either by the letters, either by the other letters or the other numbers. Next, the last letter is our capital R. And remember, the capital R has a road or a bump. So just follow that road and that'll lead you to the right. So anything on this side of your body is your right. So, for instance, your hand is closest to the capital R, so that's the right. So see, your body does have direction. All you have to do is count or use your letters to find direction on yourself. Okay, we're going to pretend this is you sitting at this laptop, and we need to get direction on your hands and down the middle of your body. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our letters and numbers on your hands, and we're going to put the middle up here because up here is above your head. All right, let's take out our numbers first. First, I take out my number 1, and remember, we pretend that it's the dragon and it has a tongue, so we just follow the tongue to the number 1 hand, and that's the left. We can look at the capital L, and that tells us it's the left. Next comes our number 2, and remember, we said that we would put it here in the middle above our head. So we can find the middle of the mountain and make an imaginary line down the middle of our body, and that's our middle. Next comes the number 3, and that's easy. That's the last number. And remember that number 3 has a bump in it, so if we follow that bumper road, that takes us to the right hand. Remember that number 3 was heading towards the red reptile tree, so that's the right. And if we wanted to use our letters, well, that's simple too. We could just take out our capital L and follow that corner, and that'll lead us to the left every single time. So that's our left hand. Our next letter comes our middle. And do you see we have a middle? All we do is find that point and we make our imaginary line, and that's our middle. And last Our last letter is our capital R. And remember, it has a bump or a road. And remember, the road or bump will always lead us to the right. So that's our right hand. So did you see? All we did was count to get direction on ourselves, or we used our letters to get direction on ourselves. So we have direction. Just remember, everything has direction, and so do we. So we thank you for watching Directional Learning, and we can't wait to teach you more with Directional Learning.